gentleman I'm about to introduce, I'm going to let the video tell the story of John Stewart. John Stewart is the founder and chairman of the Kamalaya resort in Samui. I respect and honor his business because he's one of our toughest competitors. We trade customers back and forth, but we are connected in the same space. So please welcome to the stage John Stewart.
True happiness comes from helping people and making a difference in their lives. The world is quite uneasy. We find that more and more people come to deal with stress and burnout. And wellness is much more than just healthy eating. It's much more than just exercise. You know, wellness is really, it's a lifestyle choice. It's making positive decisions that affect you and also the people around you. It's really taking the time to breathe, be inspired by life, to be curious, and to stay positive.
We are really a holistic wellness sanctuary. We focus on working with our guests on all levels, the physical, emotional, mental, psychological, and even in very subtle ways, the spiritual through meditation and mindfulness. So between the team, the wellness programs, and then the cuisine, we have an incredible capacity to address the needs and the goals of our guests. We also have the capacity to individualize the programs, to customize and tailor so that every guest is treated as a unique individual with specific goals and ideas.
If you nourish somebody and free them from their daily habits, the way they carry themselves through life and the way they protect themselves in life, dealing with the world, automatically people start to make an inward journey. If you allow people to slow down and feel safe, then an inward journey is just automatic. It just happens. You don't have to teach it to anybody. It just happens. And that's one of the magic things that happens in Kamalaya.
Please welcome John Stewart, founder and chairman, Kamalaya Samui.
Hi, everybody. Oh, hi, everybody. I was going to say all those things I just said. Now I have to start fresh. But first, I'd like to thank Susie and the GWS, and especially Mia for inviting me to come. It's just a true honor to get to be here and share with everybody. So I'll start with that. So Kamalaya, as we just saw, Kamalaya is a holistic retreat center, and we invite people to come and take a pause from their busy lives and to disconnect from their habitual selves. Because when people disconnect from their habits, all the way that we protect ourselves from the world around us, then life becomes really quite amazing. And then we invite people to reconnect with themselves. So I was asked to tell a little bit of the story of how this came about. So I lived in the Indian Himalayas for 25 years. And for 16 of those years, I was a monk, a yogi monk, and I studied with a great Himalayan master. And I learned to study and practice ancient Himalayan traditions, and to ground those and to integrate those into a practical reality. So the first year I was there, I lived in a cave. I was a half a day's walk from the nearest road. We were completely off the grid. Now there's no electricity or any modern convenience. And we filled our days with meditation, with prayer, and with serving the local community. It was an incredibly magical time. the day I arrived, Babaji, my teacher, he made me feel so special, like I was his special guest. And he pointed out this cave that was about a half a kilometer from the main temple, across a very wide riverbed. And the next morning when I woke up, I was his host. And I spent the next 16 years serving the local community and serving all of the devotees that came to meet the teacher. It was quite incredible. So right from the very beginning, I built a little hut. I had to learn how to build with stone, and I built a little hut using mud and cow dung and making a thatched roof, and tying it all together with rope I learned to make with barks from trees. A local villager helped me in the beginning. And then as soon as I had that built, people came to me and I served them. I took care of their wounds. I dressed their bandaged their wounds. I gave them aspirin, and if in case they were really sick, then I arranged a horse to take them to town. I had no medical experience whatsoever. Anyway, I started building that thing, and then I built a couple more huts. It was like I became a member of the community. I had to serve people tea, and I had to learn the language, and I built a whole community of huts where we sang together, and we had satsangs together, and it became a whole little community on the other side of the river from the main ashram. And then one day, about 6 months later, someone came and said, "Oh, Babaji's calling you," and I went across the river and climbed back up to the top of the mountain, to the temple up above, and saw that the river was coming down, and the flood came and washed everything that I had built away. All I saw was the roofs of all the buildings floating down the river. And that night, Babaji turned tragedy into some opportunity, and he made an announcement that because this had been such a big help to the local people, we would make it permanent. And the next 7 years, I carried stones. I built a garden, a 10-acre garden, by piling rocks 3 meters high and covering it with sand and rocks, sand and gravel, and then collecting cow dung and planting banana trees. And on the other side of the river, not me all by myself, but with the other people that were visiting. And on the other side of the river, up high above the cave, we dug out also a field of 10 acres where we built temples and accommodation for the devotees and for all of us. And that's how I moved out of the cave. and we buildings for the horses and the cows, and that became our community. So while I was doing this, Babaji taught me something. He taught me a whole bunch of things, but first, he taught me, he said, you don't come to a guru to learn and to wait and see miracles. Everybody always thinks when you go to the guru, you're going to see a miracle. He said, here, I will teach you how to create them. And so from the very beginning, while doing this work, he taught me that if you focus your intention with emotion and faith, you can actually create anything. And these gardens that we built, that were just piles of rocks, now feed a whole community. And tens of thousands of people come every year from all over the world to get inspired by those teachings and to see this thing that was created. So that was Babaji's miracle. And it was really quite something. So along with that, he taught me truth, simplicity, and love. And this was the practice that he gave me, was to listen to your heart before your mind begins to think. It's about being connected. We've heard in these days that we're here how much the science is backing up and showing that we're all connected. So he taught me, listen to the first impulse. He said, we all have it. Listen to the first impulse and then follow that. Simplicity is to follow that truth with your thoughts, with your speech, with your actions. And then if you do those two things, you'll find love. And love, he used to say, is God. So that, along with morning meditation, a lot of chanting, a lot of singing, and really a lot of work, and just one meal a day, bathing in the river under the stars every morning at 3 o'clock. That got me through for many years. Then Babaji used to send me to Kathmandu. the place where I was in the Himalayas, it was about a half a day's walk through the jungle. I could arrive at the Nepalese border, but it would take 3 or 4 days to get all the way to Kathmandu. And he told me he wanted me to study with some Tibetan Rinpoches, and he wanted me to get a grounding, not just in Vedic philosophy, but also in Buddhist philosophy. And it was a wonderful thing that he did. But he said while I was there, I had to create jobs for people. And I designed a bracelet. I started designing jewelry with mantras. And I made millions of dollars selling prayers. And with that money, we were able to build schools and hospitals. And I think we put more than 50,000 kids through school. And we still have some of the biggest hospitals in the Himalayas. So that kept me busy for quite a while. And in 1982, my future wife, Karina, showed up. She was studying at Princeton University. She heard about Babaji. She took a semester off school, and she made this. It was a half a day's walk into the forest. There was no other way to get there. And she made this walk, and she arrived. And I knew right away that I really fell in love with her. But I was a monk. So I wrote letters to her for 11 years. And when the time came in 1993, so now I'd been there 16 years, and in 1993, it became time for me to leave. I had used up my time. I had built everything he asked me to build, and I didn't learn everything he asked me to learn, but I learned some of it. And he had told me that I wouldn't really know what I had learned if I didn't go and build something. I had to create my own thing. So rather than a guru who wanted a disciple to be obedient, he taught me, empowered me to really listen to my heart. And I went to America and found Karina, and we got married. And we decided right then that we would take meditation and medicine and use that as our way of saying thank you. So we moved immediately to Kathmandu after marriage, and that's why I stayed. That was the extra 10 years in the Himalayas, the extra 9 years in the Himalayas. We moved to Kathmandu, and we started a business there. And we made herbal health products for the Body Shop, and I made money in art. And Karina set up her medical clinic and started developing the programs that we would use, and we started buying land. But later I got very ill. I was diagnosed with a very serious liver illness and given only a few months to live. And Karina, being a doctor of Chinese medicine, took me to an Ayurvedic hospital in India, a very old hospital. And after some months of treatment, we went to Samui because we found out that there was where herbs grew that the Ayurvedic doctors prescribed me to eat. And that's how I ended up on Samui. And during that time, obviously, I didn't die. Like the Blue Zone guy, I forgot to. And, but it was during that time that I stumbled across this cave. And Kamalaya is now built on this property that surrounds a cave that for 300 years was a forest retreat for Buddhist monks. And it totally connected me and reminded me of my time, of course, in India with Babaji, living in his cave. And the government of Thailand was incredibly kind, and I think we're the only foreigners, I believe we're the only foreigners it ever happened to, but they allowed me to buy the land and to develop it. So this incredible cave is infused with 300 years of Buddhist monks and nuns doing their 3-year forest retreats, because a part of that, in that Thai tradition, and in many Buddhist traditions, a part of your 12-year training to go from being a student monk to a teacher monk, you spend 3 years by yourself. And although I lived in a cave, I didn't spend 3 years by myself. Anyway, it changed our life. We went back to Kathmandu, and immediately when we got there, the king of Nepal and the whole royal family were murdered. And the Civil War broke out, and the Maoist insurgents took the land that we had bought to build Kamalaya, and it became the base of their insurgency. So we, we had just bought the land at Kamalaya, and we just went in Thailand, so we just flew straight back down to Thailand, and we began our life there. So I just want to say that Kamalaya is an expression of gratitude. Karina and I, it's our expression of gratitude for all the wonderful things that we learned and all the amazing teachers that we had the great honor to come in contact with. Now you have to excuse me, I have to find my place because I'm going to get emotional when I think about my guru and then I forget where I am. Thanks. So we set out to translate ancient wisdom and traditional healing along with science and to put it into a contemporary language and put it in a contemporary setting. And I know some people here have been to Kamalaya and you know what we did, you saw it. We made something really extraordinary, and the land is already filled with all this energy and power because it has hundreds and hundreds of years of people's positive intentions. And as again, what Louis showed us, that we're all connected, and what all the science is showing us, all of that intention has real power and real potency. So we nourish your body, your mind, and your spirit with the intention of enhancing your emotional intelligence and mental stability and your resilience, empowering us to face all the difficulties and all the challenges we have in life. And so we have this experience that our guests really feel rejuvenated and renewed and ready to face the world. And when we built Kamalaya, we built it just as much for our team. We have a team of 330 people. We have just 76 rooms. But we have a team of 330 people. And for all the talk of workplace wellness, we walk the talk with you. It's necessary and it's important to really take good care of your team. And we have an extraordinary team. 90% of our guests, again and again, report that they had a positive, life-changing experience. And 40% of our guests return again and again. And half of our return guests have been there more than 10 times. Oh, and by the way, our guests are influencers. We had to make a choice when we started. I'm right at the end. Anyway, our guests are influencers, so I got to be very quick and just tidy this up here. So feel life's potential is Kamalaya's invitation to each and every one to perceive and experience both the personal and the transcendent nature of life. Each individual carries within the seed of the same potential, manifesting in all life, and that's the seed to fulfill and embody life's magnificence. So both day-to-day reality and transcendent reality, they coexist, they're the same. It's not two different worlds, and it's really important that science embraces this. And I will tidy this up and just give me 30 seconds. I see the numbers there. And I just want to say, first of all, I want to say, Babaji taught me to look into the future, to visualize it, and that I would be able to create a miracle. And for me, Kamalaya is that miracle. And here at this GWS is a festival of wellness. And right from the beginning, Louis, with you sharing with us how we're all connected, that love is the answer, and forgiveness is the way. And to you, Tony, to die young, very old. Fantastic. You know, there's so many ways to express wellness, and all day yesterday and all day today, it's just been one incredible moment after the other of our sharing and our finding out how many wonderful ways there are and how far science has come. So I just want to, I'll end this with asking you to please, you're all professionals, you're all doing it, but look into your future, imagine the world healed, join with the moonshot, and imagine how you too can create a miracle. We can all do it. Thanks.